All right, so Black Panther has been a little over 2 years in the making, from initial conception to here we are the week before release.
Right.
I feel like at this point it's really become a cultural movement. So at what point in the process did you finally exhale, or are you not there yet?
Not there yet. We just finished making the film, and we still only showed it to a few audiences so far, you know. So I'm still interested to see how people receive it, you know. As far as just like the general public goes, and I still feel like I'm one foot in front of the other, you know, as far as you know, going through this process of getting closer to release.
What was your original pitch to Kevin Feige? Because I know you guys met early in the process 2.5 years ago.
I didn't have like a straight pitch for Kevin. You know, I met with Nate Moore first, and really what it was more of was like, once I sat down with Kevin, it was more like me trying to figure out how they see the character fitting into the MCU, and what they were thinking they wanted out of the film, you know, because that was important for me to know as somebody who I'll be collaborating with to bring it to fruition, and they had been living with it for longer than I had in terms of the idea of actually making a movie out of this character. So it wasn't like a pitch like this happens and this happens and that happens. It was much more of you know, are y'all comfortable with me looking at these themes? Are these ideas that you're excited about? You know, and they were. You know, Kevin was. He was like, man, let's get into it. You know, and that was kind of, you know, when we decided to move forward. Some of the themes we were interested in exploring were themes of you know, themes of identity, the idea of like what it means to be African. You know, and how that differs depending on, you know, what part of the world you call home. You know, and what Wakanda's relationship would be like with the world, you know, if it was real. Like if we threw Wakanda into the world as it exists today, you know, how could it function? How, you know, also the idea of, you know, my brother's keeper, am I my brother keeper is another theme that was at play, and the theme of tradition versus innovation, you know. All of those themes were themes that I was interested in exploring, and themes that Kevin and Marvel was excited to explore as well.
I feel every creator who's been at the helm of Black Panther, whether it's Christopher Priest or Ta-Nehisi Coates,
Yeah.
they have interpreted him a bit differently.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious about your own interpretation. You know, did you see him more superhero than king than superhero, or how did you strike that balance?
I definitely saw him as more king than superhero. I think that's more interesting, frankly, you know, because we got so many superhero movies, you know, and that's the thing. Like, in my opinion, the superherodom of superhero movies is not like why you go to the movies. Like that's kind of a given. It's kind of a constant. You know what I mean? Like you know, it's the superhero is gonna punch somebody in the face and something's gonna blow up. Yeah. You know, and Lord knows our film has a lot of that. You know, our film's got a lot of action in it. But I think the parts that you remember are the things that, like, you know, only these specific characters can do. You know, and a lot of times that doesn't involve the superhero nature of it. I remember when I saw Iron Man, I remember like the stuff that Robert Downey brought to Iron Man. I mean, I love the scenes with the suit flying and all of that stuff. You know, but you know, what I really went home remembering was Downey, you know, and some of his comments and interactions and the journey that he went on as a weapons dealer who decided that they would protect people from weapons, you know. And we wanted to bring that to this, you know. We wanted to make sure that we looked at what makes T'Challa different from other superheroes, because there are going to be other superhero movies coming out, you know, and the things that make him different are things that, you know, he's an African king, you know. His first responsibility is to his people, you know, and you know, that was what we leaned into.
Yeah, and speaking of the character work, because this film is very character focused, which I enjoyed. Michael B. Jordan is so good as Eric Killmonger. I think a thing that is often maybe forgotten in a lot of these superhero movies is the villain, and is the fact that your protagonist is only as strong as your villain or as your antagonist. And what Michael and what you bring to this character is just so terrific and nuanced. and some might say even heartbreaking. I'm curious, Michael's a good friend of yours, and you guys have a great working relationship, so what did he bring to the role of Killmonger?
I mean, Mike brought Mike. You know, Mike is incredibly talented, experienced actor. You know, he's very charismatic. I think he triggers empathy. You know, in a way that's very uncanny. You know, but I mean, also what he brings is he's very competitive, and he brings just an insane work ethic. You know what I mean, and a consistency that's really great to have on the set. You know, this role was a first for him. You know, so I think that just the difference in what he was having to do brought an energy that made him almost like an exposed nerve. You know what I mean? Like you could feel that new energy that you know as he was you know channeling those things. You know, and there's an honesty there to his performances too. You know, I think that resonates with audiences. You know, it feels real. You know, with Mike, you can feel like you watching life unfold. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to watching a movie. So I think all those things he brought were very helpful. And yeah, you're right. I mean, always with comic book films, you know, a lot of times the villain can make or break. You know, whether or not the character has to go on a memorable journey or not. You know.
Yeah, Killmonger is so good in this
you
movie.
Like
I loved him.
Oh, that's cool.
I think the whole audience did as well.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm curious because he's also about to embark on his own journey as a first-time film director. He's doing an adaptation of The Stars Beneath Our Feet. Did you have any advice for him? Did he come to you before taking on the project?
Oh, I mean, Mike and I talk a lot. You know, I mean, he hasn't come to me like, hey man, I'm like how to direct. You know, it's it's not one of those things because I mean, I think that we worked on a lot of projects together. So I mean, like you know, when I'm directing, he's been right there, and like you know, 9 times out of 10 on the other side of it. So I don't think I'm really the guy he's got to ask for advice. You know what I'm saying? He might be better off getting it from somebody else, like who can give him a different perspective, because he's pretty much been there for all the times I've directed. But you know, I'm sure like once he gets down the road, we'll talk. You know, I'll always be there for him.
You know, I think that in this film, what I appreciated so much as a woman is that T'Challa really surrounds himself with powerful women.
Right.
And that is so much a part of the storytelling. You have Nakia and Shuri and his mother, and was that in the script from the very beginning?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Like all of those characters, you know, all of the women in the story were you know, they were always there from draft one. You know, Ramonda, Shuri, Okoye, and Nakia. In early drafts, it was actually more. You know what I mean? We had to trim it down so that the film was achievable. But yeah, I mean, it's consistent in the comics, man. Like if you look at the runs, you know, women take on like more and more of a front seat with each iteration. You know, you look at Ta-Nehisi's run, man. They dominate the narrative. You know, and I think they should. You know, they're so interesting. You know, like in many ways, the women of Wakanda are the most dynamic part of the country. You know what I mean? The most interesting in terms of comparing it to other superhero films and other movies about like fictional societies. You know what I mean? Like I think that their dynamic is so interesting. You know what I mean? It was like rich ground to mine for me and Joe Robert Cole. You know, in terms of writing the script.
Shuri specifically, she was definitely the crowd pleaser. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was so revolutionary because it's not often you see a young woman who's like the comedic foil to the superhero, to like this hero of the story.
Right.
And she's so funny and she's so endearing.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find that right balance in their relationship between Shuri and T'Challa? Because I also hear that maybe Donald and Stephen Glover played a small part in it.
You know, just casting. You know, and that relationship is one that's so unique. Like you know, it was a relationship that we kind of put a pin in, Joe Robert Cole and I, of being like a relationship that you don't see in movies often. You know, like you see movies about brothers all the time. You know, it's less movies about women in general. You know, but as a result, it's less movies about sisters. But they're there. But in terms of like the brother-sister dynamic in a movie, it's not a lot of movies that deal with that, you know, and especially like that's like the specific relationship that you attach your emotions to, you know. So it was an opportunity for us you know, just as a movie, to have like a brother-sister relationship kind of be the relationship that you remember, the relationship that you track. If you watch the film, that relationship, in many ways, is probably the most important, you know, in terms of like tracking tracking the story, you know what I mean? And for us, T'Challa is a character, man, who's, you know, he's wealthy, you know what I mean? He's smart, you know, he's good looking, and he's serious because he has to be, you know what I'm saying? He got all this weight on his shoulders, and so it was great to have a character who could humanize him, you know, and who can make him laugh and you know, poke fun at him, you know what I'm saying? Like just constantly, and it's natural. It's not coming from a forced place, you know, because that's what younger siblings do, you know. And that contrasted with her, you know, her being just flat out brilliant, you know, and kind of representing the youth, you know, that grows up with technology and knows how to manipulate it in ways that people who are older than them could never even dream. You know, that's kind of what she represented, you know. And we let the humor kind of come from that, but the big thing, we needed somebody who we needed you know, an actress who could do that for Chad, who could kind of open Chad up, you know, just naturally, you know what I mean? When we were doing chemistry reads, like Letitia was the one who would make Chad smile, you know what I mean, and make Chad crack up, you know. So you know, I was a big part of it.
I love their dynamic so
Oh, right
much.
on.
It also made me want to see her with Tony Stark and like Bruce Banner.
Right.
I would love to see
Put the
that.
geniuses together. Yeah.
But I would also love to see her out genius them because I think she would. You have also surrounded yourself, like T'Challa, with a lot of brilliant women in the making of this film. You had Rachel Morrison, who herself has made history at the Oscars this year, and Ruthie Carter and Hannah Beachler. How invaluable was their input?
Yeah, we had a lot of incredible department heads and creative collaborators for us who were women. You know, I mean, like in the case of Rachel and Hannah, you know, I worked with them before, you know, very closely. They're incredible artists, and having them on this film was you know, meant everything. You know, Hannah in terms of just doing tremendous research and building out, you know, what the country is, and us making our artistic decisions, you know, based off of that work and research. You know, with Rachel, just having somebody who I could count on, you know, she's kind of like a rock. You know what I mean? Like she is whip smart, is able to make decisions from an emotional perspective. You know what I mean? And a storytelling perspective, because she has such a solid understanding of the technical things. You know, she's somebody who you can go to and say, you know, I want the scene to feel like this because, you know, this is what the characters are going through. Got it. You know what I mean? And she can rock and roll from there, and she's able to work a set where people feel comfortable coming forward with their own ideas and with their thoughts. You know, Ruth Carter is a legend. You know, I was fortunate enough to work with her, and after watching her make, you know, so many incredible costumes, do such great storytelling through her craft on films that kind of like, you know, shaped how I view cinema. You know, so I think it was fantastic. And, you know, working with Debbie Berman, who's one of our picture editors, and you know, Lisa Satriano, who's our AD. You know, so I mean, it was you know, women had their hands all over the film. You know.
Yeah. And then finally, because we talked to Chadwick this morning, we
Yep.
actually had Chadwick and Michael in the studio.
Oh,
Chadwick specifically, he said that he told you that you should direct a Star Wars movie, which made me think, what would a Star Wars movie look like in your hands? What would a Ryan Coogler Star Wars movie look like?
I cannot answer that, man. Like I right now, my mind is so focused on Black Panther and Wakanda that like that's really all I'm equipped to give answers about, to be honest. That's kind of Chad to say that, you know.
Well, he said he told you, so
Yeah.
I feel like you've already had this conversation.
Man, to be honest, man, I'm trying to remember him saying that. I mean, I think I remember Chad like looking at a part of the film and saying, hey, yo, this is like Star Wars. I remember saying something like that, you know, like, because we had like a plane flying overhead or something. But I don't know about what he's saying. And I'm not calling Chad a liar, but I'm just saying I don't remember him saying that to me.
Well, you know, there's a lot in development, so maybe you'll get your shot.
Yeah.
And I think everybody would want to see it, so.
Oh, that's kind of you to say.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too.
And I appreciate how much love Oakland gets in this movie,
Oh,
and
right
that
on.
Oakland kind of gets to be part of the Black Panther legacy, which I think for you growing up in Oakland and
Right.
discovering Black Panther in Oakland must have been a
Yeah.
surreal experience.
No, for sure. No,
Yeah.
it definitely was, man. But I think it was something where it was natural for the story, and I was happy to be able to do it.